Lille in France is an easy, great city to visit. We're going to do the walking tour and take you absolutely everywhere. But if you want something slightly easier, this bicycle cab or the 2CV that you see here, they could be your two big options. The metro, a bit unnecessary. There aren't many stops inside the town at places you want to see. The metro's great for going to the stadium if you're looking at a concert. So quite by chance, our hotel happens to be in Golden Lion Square, which is this beautiful little square of old buildings. There's no golden lion here, but there is a golden apple. Beautiful buildings.
If you're in Golden Lion Square, don't forget to visit the patisserie that shares its name. I can recommend the almond croissants, and I'm coming back later for a strawberry tart.
Bonjour, tu peux avoir un croissant en mou, café au lait.
There's a map in Golden Lion Square showing the historical old town, and it does suggest a walking tour. We're doing the City App walking tour, which is a bit more extensive, so we're heading off to our next place of interest. Our walking tour wants us to walk down that way, which we will do, but just to tell you that in the evening this road is full of the fantastic restaurants, and at the end of it is the port gate.
So we got the City App tour from booking.com. It comes from various places and effectively it downloads to your smartphone and tells you about every place you get to on the satellite map. You hear a ping as you get to the place of interest, and then on your phone you press the play button and out comes the verbal description as you would have with a guide, but you're doing it from your smartphone at your own pace. So, thumbs up for this City App tour. Wish I'd thought of the idea myself. But we have Doris Visits, and we show you everywhere, and we'll explain it to you, so you get just the same thing. In fact, you could watch YouTube on your phone as you walk around.
Upon entering the large courtyard of this former medieval hospital.
So that's what you'll hear as you walk around. I didn't hear it, but I can hear it from Jean's microphone.
The Museum of the Hospice Comtesse takes you back to life in Lille in the 17th and 18th centuries with its colourful architecture. It was originally founded in 1237 by Comtesse Jean of Flandres, and it was a hospital for the sick and travelling pilgrims. It's definitely worth a visit. Today it's housing a walked art exhibition. So we're now standing in front of a shop of a now world famous pâtissier called Frédéric Volcans. He invented a different kind of pastry. He was born and raised in Lille, and now he's world famous.
There are certainly a lot of stops on this very extensive tour, which took us all day, 20,000 steps, which Jean thinks was about 10 miles. So you might not want to do all of it, but the great thing is you can watch this film and decide which places you want to see and pick them out.
This street was
on the
named
map.
after General Paul Péterinque. It used to be a bit of a slum back in the old days, but now it's beautiful. It's full of restaurants. In fact, it's so pretty that people come and do art classes here and paint it.
Some of these places are affected by opening and closing times. Church is closed when we film it here, but later on we went back and it was open. So you need to check the opening and closing times, and you may have to move your tour about to make sure you see everything you want to see. Of all the churches there are, this one was pretty special.
This beautiful neo-Gothic cathedral, Our Lady of the Vine, is free to come into, and the art in here is stunning, and so is the architecture and the sculptures. It's really worth a visit. On the left-hand side as you go in, there are a series of modern art pictures depicting the Stations of the Cross. It is a centre of sacred art, and it's well worth a look.
In this particular square, or the square outside this cathedral, there are a number of really good cafe restaurants. So we chose to have breakfast here a couple of days running, and on the days we were there, they weren't serving food, just coffee and alcohol. So we could pick up whatever we wanted from the patisserie up the road and then take it and eat it there with their permission, which was absolutely fantastic. The cathedral and the churches, no charges for any of them, which again, I thought was fantastic. All in all, Lille wasn't expensive. Please subscribe to the Doris Visits channel and also share it with friends. On most of our films, certainly all our modern films, we have an index. So you can go to the place you want to see very easily, jumping backwards and forwards in the film.
On the facade at number 65, there are statues of the daughters of the goddesses of health and medicine. So can you guess what this street used to be famous for? Rue Esquermoise is the busiest and longest in Lille. It's 350 metres long. It used to have a canal and a tram, but now it's full of busy traffic. And some of the facades date back to medieval times.
And while you're listening, please allow me to plug my book. If you enjoy reading thrillers, the unexpected.
At the end of a very pretty alleyway, we come across this really ugly building, the Nouveau Siècle. It's a concert hall. It was built in the 1980s. Apparently, the acoustics are amazing, which is why it is home to the National Orchestra of Lille.
This particular walk does take you on a route around places and then drops you in to see things. But you may choose to do it differently.
This monument is to the Lille-born poet Alexandre Desrousseaux, who composed a lullaby, a very famous one, which became the unofficial anthem of Lille. And at the bottom of the statue is a mother, and she's singing the lullaby to her son. So I'm leaving the park and following my app. The Church of St. Etienne is dedicated to St. Stephen, who was the first Christian martyr. It's Baroque in style, and the height of the church is emphasised by the narrowness of the street. Opposite the metro is the very imposing statue of General Feder. This is in the very heart, in the centre of Lille. At the northern end of La Place de la République is a beautiful palace, and just in front of that you find a wonderful amphitheatre which has been dug out like a crater, and it's connected to the metro. Let's go and have a look. I bet this is amazing when there's an act on, and that fountain is just gorgeous.
Seriously, what is there not to like about Lille?
A major fire in 1903 destroyed the original theatre in the city centre, necessitating the quick construction of it.
The Theatre Sébastopol is one of the most popular theatres in France, known for its great audiences. It was rebuilt in 1903 after a fire, but despite its beautiful interior, people had to sit on planks. However, in 1998, it was modernised and now is extremely comfortable. It also houses art exhibitions and conferences. And across the road is the Queen Victoria, which we're going to be on next week, but it won't be stopping in Dunkirk, and unfortunately, we won't be coming back to Lille.
If you want to look inside many of these fabulous cruise ships, then do look at our channel, Doris Visits. We'll take you inside.
I'm on the balcony of this very beautiful theatre. It could be the West End, and look at the boxes.
But as dreamy as these cruise ships are, let's get back to looking at Lille, a fabulous city, and one of the many cities that the cruise ships take you to. Lille, you can get to from Dunkirk.
The construction of St. Michael Church took place during the urban redevelopment of Lille after the annexation of several suburbs during the Second French Empire. The church was built from 1869 to 1874, a period during which other significant buildings such as the Protestant Church, the University, and the Synagogue were also erected.
Louis Coillot was a French entrepreneur. He had a factory at the back of this shop, and he had the front built to advertise his wares. And now it's a shop with apartments above. Here's a hotel you might like to stay in. It's a former faculty of medicine, and it's from the 19th century, and it stands out because of its glazed bricks, mosaic tiles and ceramics. Beautiful building. So if you just walk further down the road, you'll come across this statue of a seated man. It's Auguste Angelia, and he is a former humanist and academic. The Protestant Temple of Lille is quite remarkable in this mainly Catholic town. The main feature that stands out is the bell tower, which is made of stone, while the rest of the building is made of brick. The Synagogue of Lille was one of the first to be built in northern France, and during World War II the Germans used it as a storage facility, and next to that is the University of Lille. You can only imagine the wealth that must have been in this city, looking at the opulence of the buildings.
Under French rule, large fortified walls were built around the city for defense. Several gates were placed in the old city walls.
The most notable of the gates around the city wall is the Porte de Paris. It's considered one of the most spectacular of military architecture, and it even has a drawbridge. Let's go and have a look. Note the beautiful gardens below.
So you can use our Doris Visits film to guide you around Lille. We use this city app. We don't get paid for suggesting you might use it. In fact, we'd prefer you to use our film, but there are lots of ways to see Lille. This is just one of them.
Opposite the Paris Gate is the beautiful Belfry of Lille. It's very tall. Once upon a time I might have climbed it, but not today. And right next to it is the town hall.
We've been all around Lille. Trust me, we are heading into the centre now.
This old Flemish-style chapel was a hospice right up until 1995 for the sick and the elderly. Now it's a hotel.
If you've enjoyed this film, might I ask you to take just a minute and visit my book page on Amazon. I'm a writer. I write thrillers, and my new one, The Unexpected, is out now. So the books are available on Amazon. I'd love you to read them. If you do, please review it.
The Church of Saint-Maurice is dedicated to St. Maurice. Inside is very simple, but that's to emphasise the beauty of the stained glass windows. As with all the churches on this route, you need to check the opening and closing times because they're all different, each one of them. The next feature our app brings us to is this wonderful piece of Volvic art by the French artist Daimi. He created it in 1983 and it's removable, so it's on a removable piece of board that you can take away. So if the building wants to be restored, they can take it away and then either put it somewhere else or put it back when it's finished. So this square all was the Palais Rihour, but it was destroyed by fire and it now houses the tourism office.
This is the tourist office.
Fire brigade arrived too late, and with insufficient means to extinguish the fire, marking the end of the palace. After this fire, the palace was demolished except for the chapel, the 15th century staircase, and some brick arcades of the 19th century building. The current square marks the spot where the entire palace once stood in all its grandeur.
The Grand Place has always been a central part of the city's culture and was later named Place de Charles de Gaulle, after Charles de Gaulle. In the middle is a column of the goddess, and she is holding a torch which symbolises the city's fighting spirit. It hosts many important events like royal weddings, and there's always a Christmas market here. There's also the Théâtre du Nord, which is a very important theatre in Lille. now in a pretty important square, but the app has just pointed out two beautiful facades. One of them is the Restaurant de Monsieur John, which is a patisserie, and you can buy beautiful treats, delicious, tasty treats to eat while you're walking around. And the next one is Le Cloche d'Or, the Golden Bell, which is quite important in Lille. One of the busiest streets for shopping with the big Carrefour and Primark is Rue Esquermoise. It was named after General Esquermoise. It's one of the first streets you see as you come out of Lille Flandres station, and it goes straight down to Theatre Square. It used to have a tram running through it, and now it's got a metro. From Lille Flandres station, if you come to Lille for shopping, EuraLille is a place you can try. It's massive. Oh look, I've come all the way to Lille to see Westfield. I could have gone to Shepherd's Bush.
Vibrant flowers, standing here since 2004.
The tulips of Shangri-La were created by a Japanese artist, and they brighten up the boulevard between the two stations. This is the Eurostar station where we arrived. Couldn't be simpler. The Tour de Roubaix is another one of the gates of the city, and it dates back to the 16th century, and it's still standing despite its dilapidated state. The statue of Leon Trulin, a young Belgian hero, is right by Theatre Square. Leon did important work for the French resistance and created a spy network, but aged only 18, he came back to Lille and was executed for his work during World War II. So here we are back in Theatre Square. It's quite impressive. Theatre Square is home to some of the most beautiful buildings in Lille. The Stock Exchange, the restaurant I pointed out to you earlier, and the Golden Bell, the Opera House, amazing, and the Chamber of Commerce. So look now, you can see how close Charles de Gaulle Square and the Theatre Square are, just a few metres apart from each other. We're going towards the Street of the Large Cobbles. The wooden arm that you can see represents the glove makers that used to work in this street. The street is called the Street of the Large Cobbles, one of the oldest in Lille, and we're going down here, and it's all the high-end shops you find here. Oh, we're coming up to Louis Vuitton. The display in the window of Louis Vuitton is one of the most original and inventive I've ever seen.
So we finished our walking tour of Lille. What an enjoyable city it really is. But although we've shown you some wonderful buildings and shared with you some great food, the real reason we came to Lille was to see Ed Sheeran. A simple Eurostar on and off the train for a concert and back to London. If you've sailed into Dunkirk, then do enjoy Lille. Or if you're just taking a visit there, have a great day.
We're at the metro. You don't actually need a metro to get around Lille. It's so walkable, but we're going to a concert today. So we went and bought a ticket. It's an all-day ticket. It's $5.40 per person, and we can get on and off any time within 24 hours. You just get one ticket for two people. We were looking for the other ticket, but you don't need two tickets. You just tap yours, let your friend go through, and then you tap it again and you go through.
Thanks, Jean. Please see our other city guides. And if you wish to see the Ed Sheeran concert clips, well, they're on another film that you can find on this channel. Please subscribe. And if you read my book, The Unexpected, please do review it. This isn't just a cruise. It's a mission. This isn't just a mission. It's survival. On Kindle, paperback and audiobook. The Unexpected.